My name is Earlina Denise Gilford Shine, and I'm a survivor from child abuse, molest, rape, domestic violence. I am so honored to be on here. So I was about 3 years old when my mother walked away. She was setting the house on fire to get rid of us for some insurance money. We were living with my grandmother. So it was me and my brother. We had two uncles that lived there as well. And I can remember this so clearly like it was yesterday. Me and my sister laid in a bed together, and an uncle came in the room and he started talking to me very nicely. We got to listen to what they tell us to do, because if we didn't listen, then we would be sent away. He pulled the cover down. I got scared. He took his hand and he started rubbing my leg. I started feeling uncomfortable with him rubbing on my leg, but I'm also scared to say anything because I'll get sent away. Oh God, I can't wait till he stopped. And as he was rubbing, he was getting higher where my privacy was at. And he was like, well, I need to see if you really clean down there. And then all of a sudden he started touching me in the private area. It was so uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden he stuck his finger and I started crying. And he said, if I scream, I'll get a whooping. And he will whoop me because they're allowed to spank us. My grandmother was a woman of God. She told us how to pray. If something I'm scared of, pray about it. And if I pray, God will stop anything bad from happening. I kept praying, but God wasn't doing anything. So this went on every time Grandma left. And it happened repeatedly. These uncles were like 20, 19. I got 12 years old. That's when the penetration started. One night he came in the room, and this time my little sister was there. And I remember pulling the cover up. I didn't want him to touch my sister. I just did not want him to touch my sister. I was only 12 years old, and I was too young to fight them. He was a well-known football player for school and did things in school. So, who was I? I was nobody. I was just a kid that my grandmother had to raise. I would hear stories of your mother nothing but a prostitute. Your mother is a whore. Your mother is this. She don't love you. She don't want you. I heard that through cousins. I heard that through family members. And I'm literally heard this through my mother's own sisters. So after he got through with me, the other uncle started. It was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. I knew nothing about sex. My grandmother didn't have that in her house. We barely watched TV. She believed in us reading the Bible, praying, going to church. All I knew was something bad was happening to me. I can remember this. At the age of 10, I was told I was damaged goods. I was told that I was bony, ugly, black. Nobody would ever love me. Nobody ever would want me. So that's what I remember. That's the only thing I thought I was. And I would watch other cousins with their parents, with their mothers, with their fathers. And I was jealous. So every day I would be sexually molested. And this uncle, he started messing with me. Then he wanted to mess with my sister. And my brother used to always fight them, but he was too young. And I remember one time my brother tried to jump on his back because he caught my uncle on top of me having sex with me. And at that moment, I just knew my body was damaged. I remember my brother jumping on his back, and he beat my brother up where he choked my brother out. I thought he almost killed my brother, but he didn't. And I remember that. And I used to just tell my brother, don't worry about it. God gonna do something one day. Maybe God gonna get us out of this. I don't want you to get hurt. But my brother was my protector. He was my protector. He didn't want nothing to happen to me. The one uncle was still in the house. At this moment, I call it rape, because when you say no, I got a little older. I was 14 at the time. Every time he would come, when grandma leave or when my aunt leave the house, I will say no. But he was stronger than me. It was other cousins that was being molested, but they never wanted to talk about it. We would talk among each other, but they would never want to speak up. They got it to the point where I start believing something was wrong with me. Maybe I'm making this up, but it's really happening to me. But they will always say it never happened. They would say I would make up things. So this carried on in the home till I was like 14 years old. I wanted help. My grandma was a good grandma. To me, she was everything to me. She never was mean to me, only when I spoke up about what's happening to me. That's when grandma say, stop lying, stop making up stuff. That ain't never happened. And one day it was a nurse came in the room and I liked her when I had an asthma attack and had to go to the hospital. And she said, why are you so sad? And I said, because I live with my grandmother and my mother don't want me. She was telling me she worked with a lot of kids that been abused sexually. I started looking like, well, wonder if that's happening to me. And she said, is it happening to you? I said, I don't want to say because I don't want to get my grandmother in trouble. She was like, well, is somebody touching you? Is your grandmother touching you? I said, no, my grandmother ain't touching me, but I got a good grandma. But we got monsters in the house. And she's like, what you mean monsters? And I said, well, my grandma got sons and they used to mess with us. She said, how long was this going on? I said, ever since I was 10 years old. She said, so it's been happening for 4 years? I said, yes. She said, and you never said nothing to your grandmother? I froze up. If I say grandma knew, grandma can get in trouble. So I remember the nurse going out and she coming back with someone. And that's when I totally froze up because I told her I didn't want nobody else to know. So I felt she betrayed me. And this was, I guess, the hospital social worker. So because I clamped up, they wanted to investigate because I had already opened up my mouth and said it was uncles. So my grandmother got a visit. I remember before I even went home, they went to my grandmother's house. They came back to the hospital and they talked to me, telling me to tell the story, what really happened. And I'm just saying this because I'm mad at someone in my home. I'm mad at my mother. And I'm just saying this so I can go be with my mother. And at this time, they wasn't believing me. They weren't listening. I just said, forget it. So I said, no, it never happened. I made it up because they were making me feel I made it up. They wasn't going to believe me. They wasn't believing me. Even when I said it happened, they wanted to bring up that I was being a troubled teen. So I remember I had to go home, go back to my grandmother's house. And my grandmother sat down and talked to me. And she said, what goes on in this house stays in this house. Boys will be boys. And right there, I remember crying. And I remember confessing to my grandmother, telling her it happened. They were messing with me and my sister. They were messing with both of us. I called my sister Nina. I said, it's happening. They mess with me. They mess with Nina. They mess with our cousins. My cousin didn't want to tell. So my grandmother told me, next time I say something, she was going to beat me. She was going to spank me. Boys will be boys. They probably were just playing with me. And they were just, boys do that. I was made to believe it was okay for family members to do that to you. So I remember going to the cousin's house and I met some friends that lived on the next street. It was a young man. I was 14. He was 14. And I remember meeting him. And I remember trusting him. And I remember telling him what I was going through. So he started encouraging me that he'll help me run away. He will help me. He will protect me. He will make sure nothing happened to me. And I remember running away because I found a friend that believed me. Believed these things was happening in my grandmother's home. Believe me. So this is someone I really trust because he believed me. Now I feel he's going to protect me. He's going to make sure everything's okay. But I got to leave grandma's house for him to help me. So I used to run away and he would hide me in the basement at his aunt's house. It was his aunt's house. And he would take me in the basement all the time, bring me food. Just a real nice young man. I didn't know running away was going to get the law involved. At this time, I was 15. Me and him started being boyfriend and girlfriend. I ended up in juvenile, I believe, 3 times for runaway. I was 15 years old. And I was still seeing this young man, still staying with my grandma, and I trust him to have sex with me. So this was my boyfriend. He used to tell me, when I get out of school, I'm going to the military. I'm going to come back and I'm going to marry you. I'm going to get you away from all of this. And I'm going to give you a happy life. And he would tell me that all the time, every time we were together. Well, this one time, the uncle said I couldn't see him. I couldn't see him no more. He found out I was with this boy, and this boy touched me. This boy was having sex with me. So my uncle was mad. And I'm thinking to myself, if I'm this, you made me this way. I wasn't thinking about sex. You took my innocence. You did this to me. You made me want to lay down with somebody. I ran away because they said I couldn't see him. Next thing I know, the police come knocking on his aunt's door. The aunt did not know I was there because we were going to basement. He was trying to hide me up under a pile of clothes. I remember this. And I remember them taking me to juvenile. I remember I was sick. I was so sick in that place. Throwing up, sick, not knowing I was pregnant. And they told me I wasn't going back to my grandmother's house. And I cried because I couldn't go back to let the young man know that I was pregnant. And I never got to see him again. They sent me away at 15 and I got moved to Canton, Ohio, to a foster home. So I had to go to a foster home and endure more abuse. I was raped while I was pregnant by the foster mother's boyfriend. She was mean to me. She had 3 children of her own. I had to always fight. First week, I fought her daughter. Her daughter was calling me black, ugly. I got sent to the basement. This wasn't a good basement. It was one of them basements where spider webs, and when it was wet, it was cement. It was just awful. I had to sleep in the basement for a week. They do welfare check. The children's service come, see how you're doing staying at this home. And I remember her fixing me up, combing my hair, went out and got me a little outfit to put on to make me look presentable when the lady came to visit. And I told her that I didn't like it there, the children's service. I said, I don't like it here. I got to fight her kids. I got to fight her children. Her kids jumps on me. They steal all my stuff. I didn't know I was pregnant. But the woman knew, the foster mom, and she said, she's lying. She's up here sleeping with the boys in the neighborhood, and she's pregnant. Because you know why she knew? She had me pee in a cup, and I didn't know she tested that I was pregnant. And they asked me who was I pregnant by. And I told them, my boyfriend in Ohio. And they told me I had to stay there till they find me a replacement. And that they did not believe me. She had this drunk boyfriend that would come over. And I remember her telling me to go in the basement to get the clothes out the dryer. I was 6 months pregnant. And it was at nighttime. She wakes me up out of my sleep to go in the basement and get clothes out the dryer. As I went in the basement and I went to turn around, and he was standing over me. Her drunk boyfriend sexually raped me. She knew it from the screams. After he got through raping me, I come outstairs. She's sitting in the kitchen and she throws a can at me and she said, get out my house. So I left out her house with no clothes, no shoes on my feet, and this car pulls up and it said, what's wrong? And I said, I got put out my home. They knew these people. They knew this lady. They knew she was mean. She was hateful. They told me to get in the car and they took me to the police station. I told them what happened about her boyfriend raping me in the basement. You talking about the system fails you? They took me back to the house where I was sexually assaulted, and they had me standing there, and they asked her, was I her child? She said, no, that's my foster child. She's a troubled girl. She's been fighting with my children, stealing from me. She's been lying. And the police had the nerve to ask them, would y'all like to press charges? She said, no, pregnant 15. And at that age, I went to 7 foster homes. I can't keep the baby. I'm pregnant, can't keep it. You're still, through children's services, you still can't keep kids while you're pregnant. I never got to be able to have that child or be with that child or nothing like that. You don't get to be around them at all. Troubled, damaged goods. That's what I used to call myself. Every foster home I went to, but 2, I was sexually molested, raped. I could say 20 of them. I felt like I had a tattoo on my skin saying that I was nothing but a piece of meat. And I remember them sending me to another foster home. That was the last one, the 22. That was bad. The father and the brother tried to gang rape me. I didn't even want to dress provocative, have my shirt open, nothing. I wanted to always wear pants, long shirts, look like a little tomboy. Nothing worked. And I remember when they did. Remember, I found that number. My brother gave me a number. Got that number and I called my brother. And I ran away, went to the phone booth, called my brother, told him what happened. But I didn't know I was getting my brother in trouble. He was on probation. And he came and he fought these people. And my brother got locked up again. But the good thing about it, I was able to leave that home. Another foster home came up. That one, I got real sick. I started becoming suicidal because I felt I'm never going to have a good life. I took some medicine that gave me a severe asthma attack. I believe this was God at this time. And I ended up in the hospital and I was there a long time. And I remember them coming in the room and said they're going to have to remove my tonsils and all of this because I damaged my lung. I damaged myself pretty bad. And it was another patient in another room walking past my hospital room, heard me crying, heard me denying to take the medicine that the nurse wanted to give me. And the woman said, could I talk to her? And this is why I say it was God. And she was telling me I had to take the medicine to get better. She sat next to my bed. She said, if I stayed with you, would you take it? And I said, yeah. This woman laid in the bed with me. And I told her I was scared. I said, if I take their medicine, fall asleep, one of the men in the hospital was going to take advantage of me. I was scared if I closed my eyes, somebody going to rape me, somebody going to sexually assault me. This woman took me home from the hospital and she adopted me. She said I would never go to another home and that she was going to protect me. And she had 4 children. I was scared. Why she want me? She got kids, Is her sons going to try to mess with me? I met her children and we fell in love with each other. Best family I ever can ask for. I was her daughter. And that's the way it was to the day she passed away. Now, did my life end good later? No, because when I got older and I moved out on my own, I went to school, I went to college, I didn't know how to have a relationship with a man. I did not learn a man to love me but one, and that was the young man that protected me, that said he was going to marry me, that I never seen him, didn't know where he was at no more. I felt he went to the military when he got out of school and maybe got another wife, another family, so I never seen him. I had 3 more children after that I raised. I had worthless men. I just did not know how to pick them. My father wasn't in my life. My father was an alcoholic. I ended up being a single mother. I ended up getting married later. I got married to the wrong husband. I would confide in him about things I went through when I was young. And when he get mad at me, he would throw it up in my face and say, that's why your mama didn't want you. That's why you got raped. The only reason why I was able to be out of that domestic violence, someone took his life. God bless him. He gonna be a good husband to somebody else, but he wasn't a good husband to me. He tried to sleep with my daughter. My daughter got of age. He tried to sleep with my daughter. So I'm feeling that the devil tried to bring that back in my life, like what happened to me. I felt that I still wasn't worthy of the things I needed to go through. I felt the things that happened to me is supposed to happen to me because I was not a favor of God. When I was going through this bad place, I remember this as plain as day. I was ready to give up. I felt bad that the situation happened, that my husband came on to my daughter to try to sleep with her, and I felt like I couldn't protect that from happening. And I started drinking, and I said, I'm gonna take all these pills and drink these drinks. I get on social media ready to end my life, writing letters to my kids, and my thing ding, and I look and I said, let me see what this is. And it was the young man that saved me when I was 15 years old. He said, is this Niecy Gilford? And I said, yes. Is this because his name was Suge and my name was Niecy, nicknames. And I said, is this Suge? He said, yeah. And I said, oh my God. That's the only time I knew that was God. I knew it was God. He found me 40 something years later. He never was married. He had children though, but never was married. And we started talking on social media, and we started writing each other, and I went to visit him and we started talking, and I finally broke down and told him when I was 15, when I left him, I was pregnant, never knew I was pregnant. And what happened to that child, it was a girl, she passed away. She had severe asthma, like me as a child. So she didn't make it. And I found that out years later. And we talked, we dated for 2 years, and he made me his wife. He kept that promise, and we married. The best husband ever. Being with him erased all the pain that I went through, all the bad relationships I went through. It was like he was there just to be that angel on earth, and now he's my angel in heaven. I lost him March the 14th of this year to cancer, and I never knew he had cancer. He didn't want me to know he had it. He did the best he could. He gave me the world. He took good care of me. He provided for me. And I was sick at the time. I was on oxygen. I want to tell you how good God is. I was in a 3-month coma. The doctors had told my children to go bury me because I was brain dead. If I woke up out of the coma, I would be a vegetable. I would not be able to function. And how I had that coma, I had a severe asthma attack. No one was home. No one found me till the next day. So I was in a coma New Year's Eve, and I woke up March the 21st, 3 months later. And I walked, I talked, I did everything. The doctor said I wouldn't remember my children. All of this, I wouldn't be able to eat, walk, do anything. And I'm here today to say, I had to ask God to forgive me for ever doubting him, because he gave me that story to share. All the things I went through, all the tests and trials, all the pain was for his glory. Because if I did not walk in them shoes, whoever walking in my shoes today would not know that God is a healer. He's a deliverer. He loves you. He will bring you out of the darkness. He will release you from the bondage. He will release them chains if you don't give up on God. Today, I am an author. I am an award winner. I'm a producer. I write. I make movies that's on Tubi, that's on Amazon, that's on Peacock. I got movies still coming out. I done did 7 movies. I wrote a movie of my life story called Angry Tears. I wrote a movie that's coming out this year of my love story with my husband that I just lost, how we found each other 40-something years later. God is able, never give up. I'm walking with oxygen and a walker now, but let me tell you, God's been doing some things. I'm loving myself now, because if I can't love me, I can't love no one else. I was able to forgive my biological mother before she passed. I took care of her before she passed. I went and got my mother and brought her and took care of her till God called her home. So I forgave all my uncles. I forgave every man that touched me. And I was able to love a man dearly before God called him home 2 months ago. Never give up on love. Never give up on you. You have a story to tell, because I'm here to tell mine.